Hello, and welcome to On My Shelf. Today I'm gushing about a beautiful young adult poetry and art book that rocked my world. Ain't Burned All the Bright is a stunning collaboration between author Jason Reynolds and illustrator Jason Griffin. It's a book of art, but also a book of poetry that captures what it means to be Black in America. 10 sentences and 300 pages of art. It's like nothing I've ever read before. It's creative and captivating and essential. Reynolds is an award-winning author of multiple books for children and teens. I've read just about everything he's written, and it's all magnificent. This is the first book I've read with Griffin's art, but it won't be my last because he and Reynolds have another collaboration, which I can't wait to get my hands on. What I loved most about Ain't Burned All the Bright was the format. It was so original and yet familiar. We've all read picture books. This was like a picture book for teens, with the kind of material teens need to read about and need to see themselves in. The pictures told as much of the story as the words. The artwork was memorable, and the words made it even more so. It carries emotional weight and resonance. This is the kind of book that will stick with you forever. Let's take a look at some of the craft techniques I loved most about this book. Number 1, the poetry. It was full of internal rhymes that made it feel like a rap song. You may not know this about me, but I love rap music. Rappers are essentially poets, and they're writing poetry. Well, Jason Reynolds writes poetry, and he wrote a rap song with this book. His words stick in your mind. You can play them over and over and over again. Which leads me to number 2, the refrain. The book was broken into this overarching idea of breathe, which is metaphorical, literal, and symbolic. Reynolds repeated these lines, in through the nose, out through the mouth, at the end of each section. Every time I read that refrain, I remembered George Floyd and Eric Garner. The character in this poem has trouble breathing. He searches for an oxygen mask. There are hints of COVID in the pictures. And so that refrain represents, in a way, COVID deaths as well as Black deaths and Black life. Number 3, the overall presentation of art and words on a page. The way this book was laid out felt like it was laid out by master artists. Sometimes there were phrases on a page, sometimes only a few words. Sometimes there were no words because the picture said it all. It was a masterful collaboration. I don't know how many more times I should say that, but it really was beautiful. Here's what we can take away from this book. First, you can say a lot with very few words. We often think as writers that we have to use all the words to get our point across, but we speak just as much in our silences. Toni Morrison once said, "One has to work very carefully with what is between the words, what is not said, which is measure, which is rhythm, and so on. So it is what you don't write that frequently gives what you do write its power." I keep this quote on my bulletin board and look at it periodically as I write, to remind myself that what I don't say is just as important as what I do say. This book was a great example of that. And second, you can find your oxygen mask in the here and now, in all the good, in the strength we find in each other, in everyday simple things, in gratitude and generosity and love. That's it for today's On My Shelf. If you're interested in hearing an author's perspective on books, movies, and sometimes TV shows, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.